And now it's
All right. Hello, everyone.
Oh.
Welcome back to our fun Wednesday fun time for things that are fun.
Always fun.
Sexual Wednesdays.
Nope.
Okay.
That's not allowed on Twitch.
Oh.
Bloodwine, parentheses, gone safe on Twitch.
Little does everyone know that we pre-stream on Pornhub, and then we go live on Twitch.
It's just us eating food.
It's literally just us eating food.
Very close to the microphone.
Yeah.
But we're all naked.
But you can't see it.
You can't see us.
No.
It's just a real close-up of our mouths. Our naked mouths.
That was kind of gross.
As the person monitoring the audio, I'm sorry, people. That was very audible. Well, on that note, which is definitely appropriate, it has been 2 days since we were last here. You guys have not healed or anything. You've been stressed, keeping yourselves moving. There is another sculpture that you found recently. The second one that this killer has left behind after the murders of Salis and Annette. Currently, you guys have made your way to the ranger station, and you've been ordered effectively to hold down the fort while they speak to the council about furthering this investigation and reinvesting their resources. As it stands, you guys have kind of just been sitting here, cooped up, not sleeping, trying to follow clues on your own. Currently, it's the... Ooh.
I thought you lost it.
I thought so too.
The secret texts. So, yeah, you guys, it's like the dawn hours and you're just barely waking up. It's reasonably cold. It looks like the fall is starting to set in around here. What do you do?
Hang out.
Yeah, I guess I'd be doing my routine of praying to God.
Dear Lord.
No, it's more of like a meditation type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be baking or doing some potion stuff or
So
the rest of things.
We're just holding down a fort?
Effectively.
Well.
I don't have any defenses.
Steelfist is sort of just sitting there, slowly eating oatmeal by the fire. As you look over, you see that Elbjorn is sort of just sitting there hanging out. He's finished his oatmeal, but he's kind of just looking into it. Trunk and Elmira have already gotten up. They're making coffee. Absolution is just kind of looking out the window.
Okay.
Well, I'm probably doing a bit of practice in my doctoring skill. Because I nearly died. And it's all thanks to this man that I lived. I don't want that to happen again.
Gotcha back.
All right, yeah.
I would
So-
also like to point out that I took the Juggernaut benefit for this, and that meant I start the session at 78 health, but my new hurt tired threshold is 60. So I'm just gradually bumping up and getting closer to the point where I'll just randomly start bleeding.
Untreated wounds.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. But now I'm at 90, so I'm all good. I did my training for the day.
You guys just barely hear like a...
I'm still meditating.
I guess I'll answer it and I go to the door and open it.
You see Corvo just walking back into the rookery, sort of clearly kind of wearing pajamas.
Does he have like a little hat on?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Corvo, what's going on?
He points to you, and then he sort of like leans behind the door and points to the door.
Can I sign him what? I've been taking lessons from Elmira.
Yeah, you've got... By now, you've sort of like picked up a little bit of it. You know enough to sort of just be like, what? You see him say, like, front... There's more in there, but you interpret front of door.
Front of door?
What's on the front of the door?
I'll look at the front of the door, I guess.
You peek around, and sure enough, like you've seen a couple times so far, there's a little note nailed to the front of the door.
I'm gonna read it.
Says, meeting later, your place. Burn this note.
Our place?
Your place.
Our house. In the middle of the street.
In the middle of our house.
Mm-hmm.
Our place? We don't have a place.
This is our place.
The door clatters shut as you see Corvo going back inside.
All right, I will toss the note in the fire and inform the others that there is a meeting at. There's a meeting at our place.
When?
It just said meeting at our place tomorrow.
See, I always prefer to eat the paper. Steelfist sort of just sits there and eats a little bit more oatmeal.
Paper does have some nutritional value to it.
Can I roll?
See, mostly I think it's more sort of for that, like, fight and energy. You can stare someone down and eat a piece of paper in your tuft. If you just throw it in the fire, you just sort of threw it somewhere, you know? Like, here goes my paper.
Can I roll science to see how silly these boys are being? That is a 9, 13. That's a 18 to see how silly these boys be.
I mean, as far as you can tell, Steelfist is giving you his genuine opinions on eating versus burning paper to destroy evidence.
And as for nutritional value of paper,
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to see.
It's not bad for you, it's just that it's nothing. And not in the way that lettuce is nothing, like, it's kind of like eating small amounts of clay. It's just going to go through you, and it's not going to be the best for your system.
Well, I'm honestly not too worried about it. But in the future, I will hand it to you for any paper disposing responsibilities.
Hey, don't get me implicated.
You really are an enigma, Steelfist. A real enigma.
And Enigma.
I don't think he knows what that word means. And I'll go back to studying my book.
All right. Time wears on, and you guys sort of continue going about your business. By now, it's the early through the mid-morning, and the sun's starting to get a bit high. Steelfist has had like 4 bowls of oatmeal.
Boy
As you
likes his
look-
oatmeal.
As you look, like Elbjorn still hasn't moved, and he's kind of just sitting there on the palm of his sword, like glaring into the fire. As you look over, Trunk and Elmira are on like their 3rd carafe of coffee, clearly reasonably tired.
I'm kind of just wandering around the place, not really sure. Like what hour is it again?
It's like mid-morning.
Mid-morning? Might go for a walk, which is a very, very slow jog for me.
Now, when he said to keep an eye on the place, keep everything on lockdown, keep Rocket in the free world, did he mean keep this exact location under lock and key, or did he mean keep the surrounding area safe while I go off into a way distant place?
You mean the note you were left?
No. We got our orders to stay here and keep this.
You were
specific
given
place.
the very vague and like transparently colloquial terms of hold down the fort.
Okay, so we probably should be going on patrol still. So I'll come with you and we can patrol. We can
All right.
keep an eye on the situation, keep our ear to the ground. Our nose to the scent of the villainy that may or may not be up in this bitch.
Well, I'll leave the nose smelling to you because my nose not as good as yours.
Nose
Fair.
ain't be smelling.
Nose ain't be smelling. Wise words.
You guys
from
are sort of just like walking around the side of the building, and you hear this like literally as you look, and there's like a pie actively being placed by the window. She's like,
All right.
you guys notice from where you are, sort of halfway through the trees, that down the trail there's someone on horseback coming up.
Well, this is bound to be good.
You're very optimistic. Do we recognize them? Do we recognize their...
Not
Colors?
entirely. In any other situation, like black leather and metallic spikes and a dyed mohawk would be something a little bit more obvious, but it's kind of the norm here, so you're not sure. Extra glittery and spiky, though, with some blue. Maybe Captain Rollins?
Well, I'll wait for him to come to us. He's on horseback.
And last people that came to me on horseback were you guys.
I suppose, yeah.
We did get attacked by coyotes, so
We did get attacked by coyotes, and we did find a murder sculpture.
keep your nose out.
Will do.
Nose be smelling.
Nose be smelling.
Sure enough, a little while later, as you guys have sort of made your rounds, and there's a few sort of like hacked open logs that are stools that you can use right by the door, and so you're just kind of waiting there for a bit as he comes up the trail and rides up to roughly where the door is. He hitches his horse near yours. Sure enough, it's Captain Rollins.
What's the word, Captain?
Well, there's a meeting. Corvo there yet?
Yes, he's just inside.
Ah, okay, excellent. Captain Rollins walks into your ranger station.
Okay.
Corvo's not in there, though.
Wonder where he went.
Maybe we should go inside and see.
All right. Corvo!
You hear a distant, like, squawking noise. There's a waving from on top of the rookery.
Oh. I think the captain wants to see you.
Just sort of sinks below where you can see him.
Alrighty.
Yeah. We should go inform the captain.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
So,
Okay.
yeah, you guys are all sort of just, like, sitting there in the... basically what's been your home for the past couple weeks, and Captain Rollins is just kind of awkwardly standing there near the door, like, leaning on his guard spear a bit, going... So, oatmeal, huh?
Yeah. Oatmeal.
There's a clattering, and Penny and Reginald and Corvo all walk in. You notice the scribe that's near Corvo's isn't actually with you there. That being said, they sort of usher you guys to get in where sort of the kitchen table is and sit down.
Yeah, no, I'll sit down.
Corvo sort of like signs something to Elmira, and she sort of nods. Right then, Captain Rollins leans in. So the following is highly confidential business, of course.
Of course.
Here's the thing that's going down. These past couple weeks, I haven't been able to look at this village the same way. I came here as a military guy, and honestly, I never liked it that much. I held down the fort because someone had to, but this is too much. I'm getting out of here. That being said, I'm part of the council here, and, well, that's actually kind of part of why. Been talking to Corvo a while, and he says that he was looking to retire back onto the road, too, so we were figuring Corvo's going to take over Tim's going to take over the rookery when Corvo's gone. That's right, yeah? Corvo nods with a little sort of like, yeah. So what we were going to do is propose a motion to council to have me effectively retire, in so doing no longer be a council member, and join you guys in an independent investigation. Because as far as we can tell, based on that last sculpture, this is local politics, so as far as we know, could be a council member doing this. Frankly, people I trust the least in this city are those council members. Conniving fucks.
Council members usually are.
Well, occasionally you gotta get your hands a little bit dirty in order to get shit done.
Yeah, I mean, I think occasionally might be generous, but I agree with the sentiment.
Well, here's the thing. Well, maybe it is dirty work time. I already got approval for you guys to become the independent investigators as an adjoint directly under me. So you guys are basically in charge of the investigation now, and I'm in charge of you. And I have a request I'd like to make. Because really, if I'm going to swallow my pride, it should be Henny in charge here. I'm a military man. It's not my expertise.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you, but
Here's what I was thinking. This council meeting, before I bring this up, I want to use my seat to propose some motions and bring up some conversations. And I was thinking, the council building's pretty big, and I can make it so my guards don't check upstairs. So if you guys were to just wait in the mezzanine where you can't be seen in the shadows, you might get some information from seeing who's down there. Believe it or not, it's actually common practice to keep guests there, so when I call you down, that's our alibi. You were just waiting. And if you saw something, you got an excuse.
all right. It seems appropriately underhanded.
Now, there was a council decision. It was when I was still a god, so I wasn't there for it, but that's what that sculpture was talking about. There was all that coal and silver with a couple of heads.
Mm.
When they moved the school up to the mine, it was a really narrow decision, and a lot of the local families, especially the ones with, like sick children or people sort of struggling, they were the ones who were bringing up a protest, but they were outvoted. So we're thinking it's somebody either impacted by that, which, based on the scope of these killings, is probably not someone who is struggling in any particular physical regard. That being said, that's an assumption. What I believe we should be looking at is anybody who was politically affected, which would be one of the counselors. It was narrow, and there were definitely some people who came out on top, and definitely some people who came out underneath who might be looking for revenge.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think we're dealing with a bigger group, so it makes sense that there is somebody with a bit of authority behind it.
In terms of a group, how big a group do you think?
Well, it had to be a coordinated effort to steal the wagon. Someone would have to be driving the wagon. Somebody would have to be... Well, somebody ambushed the teacher. And it was more than one person that did that because, there was more than 3 people there. And someone had enough time to run off into the woods while a struggle was happening. I'm guessing, at least 5 or 6 people. at bare minimum.
5 or 6. That seems like a lot.
Well, that's just a rough estimate, but
You
So
don't
then-
think 2 or 3 people could have overcome a teacher and
a teacher and 3 kids.
3 crippled children?
Well, if the teacher
Yeah,
is
physically disabled.
Yeah.
if a teacher is fighting, which presumably he was, one kid ran. Someone had enough time to run after him.
Mhm.
I mean, I just think it makes sense. They sent at least 3 people for 3 children. That's at least one person with the cart and a couple other people kind of running it.
Reginald is kind of moving his hands in the air, like doing the mental math of what's going on, and like drawing maps with his fingers to be like, yeah, that adds up.
Since talking to next to kin, we haven't really spoken to anybody else yet. So, if you wanted to start interviewing, we probably have a day or so before that, but I wouldn't be able to be with you until afterwards. This council meeting's going to be tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
roughly mid-afternoon.
Got enough time for a meeting as any?
I should
Alright.
probably ask the question, though. Are you interested in this?
Yes. I think we're interested in this.
Well, I would never do anything against the council. And I give them like a
Look up.
No! Get out of there! Get out of here!
Man.
I've been watching all the old episodes. I know every callback we can make.
Oh, man.
But I suppose it couldn't hurt to have a guest above in the mezzanine if it's 100% completely sanctioned and in no way illegal. And I try and use my tone of voice to drip with sarcasm.
Steelfist looks towards you and is like, yeah, we don't do illegal things around here. He sort of just like shakes around his jacket a bit.
Oh, Steel Fist.
Yeah.
Right then, I believe if everyone's all right with that, then I guess that's a deal, isn't it? The captain and Corvo both stand up. Right, we gotta get back to stuff, but see you tomorrow, eh?
Oh, we'll be there.
I'm gonna walk by early afternoon. Like, the meeting starts early afternoon, but if you want to come by just before noon, I can get you in there when people are distracted.
All right, sounds good.
When they leave, I'm gonna go up to Henny and give her a big clap on the back and just go, "Congratulations! You just got a major award in life. You got a promotion on this investigation that you were trying so hard for."
I suppose you could look at it that way. Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
See, there's some positivity going on here.
Red Star must be shining down on you.
Okay.
Trying to see eye to eye to Trunk, and Trunk just goes, "Oh, okay."
Well,
Trunk, not a religious man.
Not really in particular.
Kind of for the same reason that Absolution wouldn't be all that religious after all of that. When you've been raised to be like, the giants are gods, we're going to kill them.
yeah.
You kind of lose a little bit of it.
Not to clap myself in the back or anything, but that was my favorite Mongrel moment. Is when he's like, "Oh no, the Celestials," and Mongrel's like, "Just like fuck them. We can kill them." Like,
Yeah, you've been fighting 100-foot tall shit for like a decent amount of time. You're like, not mid-height.
yeah, just kill them.
Just gank him real good.
Yeah, like I am religious. I'm a religion is God ain't shit. Very
He
good.
ain't
The audio is
shit.
echoing, Will.
Is it?
Yeah. I'm hearing it double.
It's not on that particular set.
No.
No, mine's muted.
It's not projecting from that. It's not coming through that. Hang on.
Mr. Wee.
Keep going, I'll figure it out.
Well, Trunk sort of just chuckles, and you see Elmira peek out the door and out the window. Well, they go on. So, what do we want to do? Do we want to interview some people? Check out the crime scene? Apparently we're in charge now.
I suppose we are, yeah. Yeah, I think interviewing next to Kin would be good now that we finally have permission to do so.
I think it's also a good idea.
All right, real quick, I'm gonna quickly disconnect the audio.
Oh, jeez.
So we're going quiet for a second here,
Oh, heck.
but should be good.
I would like to talk to the people whose kids just died.
Yeah, do you know where they are?
I don't
Who
know where
they are?
I had it written down. It was Lindsay. I have Stan written down. No, Stray. No, Strong. Alan Strong and Colin White.
Yep. Those are the kids.
To the Strong household.
To the Strong House. Or to Stronghold.
All right. Following some directions from locals, you make your way up to a house.
Is it a Strong house?
Actually, it's a little shabby. It's closer to sort of the archway on like the further end of town. By the time you get down here, you've actually killed a lot of your time just getting from Rookery Hill to the far end of town.
Okay.
As you look, you see that even though it's like a little later in the day, there's like a window half open with what looks like a pie in the window still, but actually, as you look closer, it looks like it's been pecked half open. The window's half open though still.
Knock at the front door.
Yeah, I think Vesta probably has the most welcoming features out of all of us. At that, Reginald just kind of smiles and say, "Oh, come on now." Shining in plate and like mail with a giant fucking axe.
Yeah, I knock on the door.
Yep, still nothing.
Knock a little bit louder.
I knock a little bit louder.
I walk around to the open window and look inside.
As you look inside, it's something that, I mean, you've seen before. It's a pretty dense, sort of shabby-looking, multi-occupant house. Looking inside, you see that somebody was in the middle of cooking something, and there's a lot of flies around it.
Listen to this for a little bit. Okay, I'm being
It
super
doesn't look-
paranoid about this. I know I'm being super paranoid about this.
No, like, wax these bad boys up.
But I just hear so much bass. It doesn't come through for Chelsea, but Gabe and I, and even you, who have bassier voices, it just bass.
I mean, it could also be your headphones.
It could also be my headphones, and that's genuinely what I'm thinking it is.
Do you want to try my headphones?
I might just steal Will's.
They have tape on them. Shows how powerful they are.
Yeah.
They can't even contain the sound. They need additional help.
Yeah, burn those. Yeah. Those headphones might just be good. So,
Oof.
fun on that.
Are there any lights on inside?
You... Oh, no.
I hear it through this too.
If anything, it's kind of dim inside.
So it's been 2 days since these children were killed, right?
Yep. Now it's getting closer and closer to 3.
Does it seem like it's been 3 days since this food has been touched?
No.
It
Less
actually
than that?
sounds kinda
Less than
funny.
that.
Like hours?
Maybe hours. Roll science.
Right? I'm not the only one who hears this, and I've swapped headphones.
4. You look at it, and I mean, you don't see mold on it. It looks like it's been out, but
Can I ask somebody else to do the same role? Like to get somebody else's opinion.
who are you asking?
I think it's fine.
Hey,
Okay. Yeah.
How long do you think this food has been out?
Long enough, I say, as I jump into the house through the window.
All right, yeah, you sort of pick up the pie and just sort of pass it to Vesta, who's holding a half, like, something eaten pie. You crunch open the window and roll grace. Actually, no, first roll delicate.
Oh no. 5.
This is a wooden window pane. You're like, and then you're like halfway through, and you think it's stuck, so you start to go under, and then it dislodges, and you're like, oh, okay. Now roll grace.
Oh, come on! That was a really bad roll. 6.
You
With
guys
3
hear
dice.
some sort of crashing and a henny sounding ow.
I pop my head up to the windowsill and say, "You're the pie expert. You probably know more about how old a pie is than I do."
Can I do a baker roll on that pie to see how old the pie is? I didn't even consider that. 11.
11. Based on the way the crust is, it hasn't been out overnight, especially now that it's getting a bit cooler. It would be all soggy and gross. It's still got some crispness. That being said, it's bone cold. This thing's probably been out all day. Plus,
Baked this morning.
yeah, especially considering baking's a lengthy process, you tend to do a lot of it in the morning and then it keeps going throughout the day.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Anybody home?
Oh. You look around and it's still a pretty dense building. Like, you muscle past a few cabinets and sure enough, you see the door is not barred or anything. You're able to open it and people are there on the other side. You do, however, notice that just at the end of a hallway, there's a cane on the floor. You think you smell something familiar.
Good familiar or bad familiar?
Bad familiar.
Like rotting? Like rotting people? Uh-oh. Oh, man.
Elbjorn sort of wanders ahead of you guys and peeks around the edge.
It's not the one other one, is it, Elbjorn?
Well, there's good news and bad news. It's just a body on the ground.
Well, that is refreshing.
Okay.
Well, come on down. I don't think there's anyone down there.
I go down.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
coming too.
take a look at this body.
It's a little cramped for everyone to be down there at once, so you can really only fit maybe 3 people, so you have to go and come back and look down from above. But sure enough, there's someone at the base of the cellar stairs just on the ground.
Cause of death.
I'm going to investigate that, but first I'm going to ask Trunk and Elmira to search the rest of the room and see if there's anybody, or search the rest of the house, sorry. See if there's anybody hiding, or...
They nod and sort of
Yeah.
fan out, pilfer through things.
Can you determine cause of death?
I can try.
That would be a doctor roll.
I've just been practicing with my doctoring.
Ooh.
That is a 14.
14. You notice that, in particular, this person's neck is at a weird angle. Seems to make sense given the height of the fall.
Fell down the stairs?
Well, that's what it seems like.
Incidentally, they have a twisted ankle.
So it's possible they twisted their ankle and fell down the stairs. Or fell down the stairs and twisted their ankle and went down.
Walking with the cane, dropped the cane, twisted their ankle, fell down the stairs.
Fell down the stairs.
It's then that, as you guys are sort of talking and you're there, like, you can see fine from the top of the stairs. You sort of went halfway down the ladder and were like, no, you could fit if you needed to, but Sometimes you just don't invest. You don't do that effort.
I'll keep an eye out for up here, you know.
Good call. Good call. We don't want to be snuck up on or.
The stairs don't really look all that good, and that's, you know, it's a little bit.
Now, is there any evidence of foul play? Somebody twisted their ankle and then broke their neck.
You are looking around for evidence, and as are you. And as you see both of them bend down, you see that on the other side of like a low cabinet that's with like 2 chairs halfway on top of it, there's actually a small bottle. It looks like that's rolled to the other side.
I immediately go, hey, look out for that bottle.
Oh, all right. I'll go and pick it up.
You go and lean down. It looks like there's a small hairline fracture in it, but it's missing its cork anyways, and it seems like most of what was in it has leaked out. Looking at the label, though, you see that it's something written in shit.
Shit.
Elmira.
It smells chemical.
Get Elmira to read it?
Yeah, I'll get Elmira to read it.
Speak of the devil. Drunk and Elmira come back. They don't seem to find anything amiss at all. Sure enough, it seems to confirm your other suspicions. Somebody was up to their morning business.
Ask Elmira to read the label.
Yes, I will hand the bottle to Elmira. What can you make of this?
Honestly, no idea what it actually says, but looks like a medication of some sort. Smells like it.
Medication.
With a fracture in it.
Elmira sort of just passes it back to you.
It might have been holding it when he fell. That would explain the fracture. But it's all empty, and there wasn't any liquid.
Is there any foul play? Like, can I find anything that's like make it look like somebody making it look like it was an.
As far as you can tell, the angle and everything seems to corroborate, especially given the way that the hand's outstretched. It looks like the bottle may have gone the whole way down and then rolled underneath. Sure enough, when you look under the furniture, there's a trail of what presumably was the liquid that's still sort of vaguely damp in a pool in the middle. A decent radius around the pool, it's dried and left behind a little thin residue.
Hold on to that bottle.
Of course.
Because we can ask somebody about what this is.
Probably the wizard.
Wizard might know.
Would you get medication from a wizard?
I don't really need much medication.
Not medicine, but maybe alchemy.
I'm just
Can I
saying.
do an alchemy roll on this to see?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a very small town. I don't really know if they got a regular doctor, but a wizard probably doing a pinch.
Oof, that is a bad roll. 11.
You sort of feel it with the energy. You don't sense anything hostile, so taking a risk, you just kind of like... One of your eyelids droops. Yep, this was some sort of sleeping draft or something.
Foul play. I think it's foul play.
As you look around, you see that there's a crate of other bottles. They were stored the way that some people store beer, with like the empties and the empty spaces. There was only one bottle left that's still full. And an empty space where presumably this one was.
I sniff it. Is it the same stuff?
Yep.
Sleeping.
He's got a lot of it.
Does have a lot of it. I don't know that this is foul play. It could be just that he...
It seems too convenient.
Convenient? How so?
For this person to have had an accident?
Well, we still don't know who this person is.
Oh, I guess I was assuming it was like their family member.
Do we know that if anyone else lives here?
You heard mention that it was just the 3 of them.
Okay. And this is the husband, I'm assuming? Or could
their
we
mother.
assume? The mother, okay.
I mean, they're mouse folk, so it's difficult to assume.
Yeah.
They're kind of just covered in fur and look like mice for the most part to you.
Fair. Mother fell down the stairs. Where is Mr. Strong? He worked in the mine, if I remember correctly. Am I remembering correctly?
I don't remember if you remember correctly.
Okay, well, could be at work. He could have fled the country.
Well, if what we heard is it was just the three of them, the two kids and the. You mean the two kids and the mother, right? It's the father's just out of the picture.
Oh, you're totally right, because there was two kids. I thought it was just the family's one kid. Okay, so she fell down the stairs, carrying a bottle of sleeping drug.
Overdose?
Could have been. But if you were going to intentionally overdose, why would you throw yourself down the stairs?
Took too much of it?
That's possible, but why would you be taking a sleeping draught in the middle of the day? Because she obviously woke up.
Her
Because she
children
had been
just died.
Unless we're overthinking things. I think she just fell down the stairs.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, too.
Well, there goes our witness.
That's why it makes me think that she didn't just fall down the stairs.
Except she wasn't a witness, because she was nowhere near her children when she died.
I mean, she had information, I guess.
Maybe. Well, I'm going to search the house. I'm going to see if I can find anything.
We didn't find anything.
Didn't find anything? Okay. Nothing, no other medications or anything indicating a medical problem?
Actually, take a look at this. What do you think? He leads you to the bedroom. It's, interestingly, not necessarily the norm, even for a house this small. There's no divider. It's just like the main bed and then the beds for the two children in one big room. As you look around, you see that like on the bedside table near the one, there's a glass and there's a small ring of what looks like that same residue that was on the floor just next to it on the cupboard itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Must have just had trouble sleeping.
A lot of trouble sleeping.
Well, she's sleeping in the same room as two kids. I mean, makes sense. I'm not saying we ruled out foul play, but I don't see any evidence of it.
Okay, let's go inform somebody of her death.
Yes, absolutely.
And then continue to the next house.
Okay. So hopefully that's sorted the audio issues. Turns out XSplit was being kind of terrible. Wee things. So yeah, once that comes back up, I'll be able to confirm, and hopefully everything is back to normal.
Yes.
I'm gonna squish your head.
We're good.
Yeah. That's kind of
We're
rude.
good.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yes.
Way back.
Man.
Yeah, scooch forward a bit.
So,
Scooch forward.
Yeah, because I'm like, if I lean forward, you can.
so yeah, you guys are at the ranch with the two white families. Well, now just the one.
Okay,
Okay.
just the one white family.
Okay.
Where are the whites?
They've come down to meet you. You got the explanation from them. They were just in the ranch, so they saw you coming on the other side of the fence.
Is this is the white family that is of the family of the
Parents of Cullen White.
Okay.
Currently, both parents are running errands. They're headed to the other side of the town, but should be back within an hour or so. That being said, these ones are the property owners, so they say you're welcome to go and take a look.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go and take a look.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Well,
You're invited inside, and it's a reasonably large home. As you look around, you see that things are reasonably tidy, and you're directed to sort of the half of the home where the other family stays. Here, things start to fall a bit further into disarray. You see that the floors haven't been swept in a bit. At least, like, the main hallways still look good since someone's been helping out, but the rooms themselves are still a bit untidy. Seems like everyone's gone.
So, Mr. and Mrs. White.
They're not here, are they?
No, but there is a White family here.
Oh,
Yes. They're distant relatives, but effectively there's one couple that like lives at the farm and the other one that came to stay with them. The other one that came to stay with them is the one who had a kid who was taken.
So I'm asking Mrs. and Mrs. White, how Mrs. and Mrs. White, the other ones, what sort of, if they had any strong religious views.
I mean, as far as I can tell, yeah. I mean, this town's a bit more religious than most.
Mm-hmm.
They came to church, of course.
And which church would that be?
Oh, you know, big one, middle of town. You've seen it.
That'd be the Chapel of Script.
Chapel of Script.
Not as good as the Red Star, but you know, to each their own.
That's very open-minded of you.
is it Mrs. and Mrs. White?
You're not sure. They just sort of introduce themselves as the Whites.
Well,
Because I heard Gabe say Mrs. and Mrs. White.
Henny has made a lot of assumptions here.
I mean, currently, we're like walking into a house deep in a conversation, so it's not like we've gone too far.
Mhm.
What's next? They're sort of just like in the house doing that sort of busy work you do when you kind of have someone in your home but also need to get some things done and are giving them room.
Now, were the Whites? Which side were the Whites on in the moving of the school debate?
Well, I mean, everybody on this side of town was against it. I mean, it's so far for us to go now.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Now your children can't meet you like just walk home normally. They gotta go to the mines.
Well, that's what they voted on. Most of the parents around here are minors, and so this way, those parents can walk most of the kids to and from school, and I mean, the teacher would walk their kids back after. The catch the our kids, their kids is something you heard in real life, though.
Okay.
Or sorry, it's something you heard in game, audibly.
I'm glad I wasn't dreaming it.
I was gonna say that sounds like something that would be said at a PTA meeting.
Right then. Is there anything else we can help you with?
They weren't involved in any organized crime, or none of them had
Here?
any debts.
Organized crime? We barely have organized law.
That's a fair point.
Reginald chuckles.
No, there's nothing like that happens here. Quiet town. Nothing bad happens.
No outstanding debt or
Oh, we don't have debt here.
hell of a
No.
system.
Until recently, things were just okay.
Well, that rules out a lot of my thoughts. Thank you for your time. If you don't mind, we'll just take a quick look around and.
Yeah, just let us know when you're on your way out so we can head back to the fields.
Sure thing.
Here, there are 2 bedrooms, and you can see that there's another sort of big room that was used as like a separated off living room / toy room. Lots of toys strewn everywhere. The parents' room is right across from the other one.
I have a feeling that this was a crime of convenience. You know?
Well, especially if they were also against the movement of the school.
Yeah, I think they more picked these children not because of who they were, but because they were children that were affected by this particular thing. And so
And, I mean,
they were
easier
using
targets, I suppose.
easy targets, easy to use as an example. I don't think it was probably particularly about these children, because they did also use Annette and Salis, who were of convenience people, right? People that came to them. I don't think these people are choosing people. I think it's more
Yeah.
who is convenient for them.
I feel like it'd be a lot easier if we could interpret this as art without thinking about the fact that it's, a childhood friend.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's some sort of message, but I'm not going to be the one to do it.
Personally, I've never been much for art, especially when the people's thrown up.
Now, art is very good if you want to launder money quickly. But other than that, it's very subjective.
I mean, the one before this was a parrot.
A parrot.
What do you think that had to do with it?
Just repeating things back, maybe.
Sometimes the shock of it is the message it sent. Before the war started, I saw a lot of things. Nice beast folk that were strung up just to send a message.
Yeah,
Didn't have to have anything particular about them.
But I feel like them being put up in the parrot like that had a particular message to it. It must have.
Well, it's worth thinking about. The other thing that I can't get out of my mind is how many people would it take to take down Salis?
Not a lot.
The man was a machine.
Yeah. But if they caught him by surprise,
Possibly.
it wouldn't be difficult. Especially if there was 2 or 3 or more.
I suppose. Oh, he was a good man. Even if he didn't know it.
Well, in that case, should we get moving? See if we can get to the teachers before it's too late.
I think so.
It's getting a little late, at least.
Yeah, let's go to the teachers. I don't think we're going to find anything here. I think every person that they've chosen was of convenience. I don't think...
Of the same mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that does seem to be the simplest answer.
Although, he would have known about... Well, they would have known about Annette because she often goes out camping.
Yes.
Salis 100% could have been convenience. And as for the teacher, they walk home every day. That's easy to know.
Yeah.
So it could just be that they were easy targets.
I think they were easy targets.
That. But it wouldn't be just strolling around and, oh, hey, a person to murder. They probably planned this out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they knew about the mining thing and the kids' heads were there on purpose and that was part of this debacle, then I think they knew who they were going after well in advance.
But if they knew who they were going after, I think they did know who they were going after, but I think it was less of who are these people and more of, these people are people that are affected by this thing. I'm going to use them as an example.
Well, I guess that's sort of the thing. Is this killer someone who plans the attack and then comes and waits for inspiration? Or is this a killer who has a plan from the get-go?
I feel like they probably have a plan.
Well, 100% they had a plan. They organized a wagon to come by at just the right time to...
You guys are walking back to the middle of the village, right?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you've walked a bit closer, and there's the villagers have started walking on the other side of the road. They all sort of stop their conversations, and occasionally they look back as they hear you like theorizing.
Maybe we should be talking about this out in the open.
Perhaps.
Sure enough, as you look ahead, though, you see the description you were given for White's parents. They look haggard.
Yeah.
As any parent, I'm sure they would be.
I don't really have any questions for them.
I would just ask them if they had any suspicions, any ideas.
Okay,
on this.
let's go ask them that.
Looks like they beat you to the punch. They move towards you. So you're in charge of the investigation, right?
That's correct.
Would you tell us when we can leave?
When you can leave?
Where are you planning on going?
They sort of just look around and wait till things are a bit more sparse, and they talk quietly. Well, to be honest, this town has never been good to us. We moved in, and just the older families had the clout, and we didn't. Our kids were never well taken care of. Me and the other parents of people who moved in. And after this, I don't want to look at the people here. I don't want to look at the buildings. I don't want to walk the road that,
Mm-hmm.
Did your child have a lot of friends at school?
No. Just the other two.
How did the other adults treat them?
Well, kindly enough until it was inconvenient.
How did they treat you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we put in hard work. The ranch when we could, the mine otherwise. Sort of indifferent. We're here. We pull our weight. It's all right.
You didn't have any enemies or people with a grudge or vendetta?
Not that I can think of. I mean, you hear the same horrible things when you've got a kid like ours, right? About how they're just a waste of resources, a dredge.
Did a lot of people say that about them?
Not a lot, but I mean, if it was with the other ones too, maybe that was something to do with it. You don't think that's why they went after our son, did you?
We don't know right now, but we're trying to get as much information as we can.
I'm also gonna put a hand on either one of their shoulders, just kind of look them directly in the eye and go, and they would not erase a waste of resources. They could have been excellent scribes. There are many jobs other than the mines that they could have done.
Thank you.
What kind of do you feel comfortable telling us who would say those things?
I just wish we could point specific fingers. It's never something people say to your face.
That's true.
It's just when people have conversations a bit too loud without realizing. There's a lot of those. I'm sorry, we haven't slept in days.
I understand completely.
We're just further down there if you need to talk to us about anything.
Well,
Okay.
You two aren't suspects, obviously, so whenever you have your bags packed, that's
Okay, thank you.
all you need, really.
They nod and wander back off.
I hope they avoid sleeping drought.
Yeah, I hope they avoid the legions of beast folk hating life drinkers that are ruling most of the continent.
Okay.
But we can't worry about these things right now.
Let's continue on to the teacher's place.
You see that there's a nicer, newly built house closer to the middle of town, but still toward, mindward. That's where you're directed for the teacher's house. It's still not a big one. It's just, new and recently built, so it's reasonably sturdy. You see movement inside, actually.
I knock on the door.
You see the door, handle twist and open, and there's Junker from the tool shop.
I say, hello, Junker. What are you doing here?
Oh, just packing.
Packing?
Someone had to.
I guess that's true.
Can I help you guys?
Yeah, we were just going to search the place. We're kind of in charge of the investigation now, so gonna see if we could find anything out of the ordinary, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, come on in. He sort of like gestures you inside. You see that it was moved into somewhat recently, so some things clearly had still been in boxes. Other things are being put in them. You see that there's a few open boxes with clothes strewn about that have sort of been left there after being hung out to dry behind. You see that there is like an empty clothesline in the back and a pile of clothespins by the open door that's just open.
Okay.
Well, if you see any clothes, it's one of them boxes.
All right.
I'll give you guys some room. He sort of just nods and wanders outside.
Okay, so what are we looking for? Secret notes.
Secret notes, yes.
Journal.
Journal, diary.
Diary.
Letter with his hands written in blood saying, Junker did it.
Yeah,
Junker is one of the few named NPCs.
that is true.
I've also seen the person of interest list, and I'm fairly certain Junker's on council.
Could be.
I'm fairly certain that Junker is on council.
I thought you were going to say I'm fairly certain Junker did it.
Okay. Does he have a journal or a diary?
You don't see a journal or diary per se, but you do see that there's like a bunch of notes by a writing desk and a bunch of assembled lesson plans.
I read it. Is it all? What language is it in?
It's in shit, but at that point, Elmira's starting to pick it up after all this time and is giving you important details. Everything seems pretty straightforward for the most part.
Any controversial political leanings coming through?
You don't see anything until you get to the file at the bottom, which is, sure enough, for these kids. Actually, it's for 6 of them.
6 of them? Okay. 3 others. What are their names?
You guys write them down. You notice, however, that there were different days. The 3 victims were all for the same day, Tuesday, and the other ones are listed as Thursday.
Okay.
Ah.
We need to get tabs on the next children, like, immediately.
That being said, as you're searching around, you hear the creak of a loose floorboard
That would be above us, I'm assuming.
below.
Ooh,
Someone check the basement.
I'll go.
Oh no, it was under your feet, like
Yeah.
on the step.
Oh.
As in rip up that floorboard.
Yeah.
Well, I get
All right, let's
I
pull
get
it
my
forward.
axe and get a little bit of leverage underneath and just kind of pop it up.
Yeah, it just poop like that. Seems like it's meant to come out. As you look underneath, it looks like this is some sort of storage space.
What's in there?
Inside, you see, of all things, more clothes. If anything, these are like weird assortments of things, like clothes. You see that there's like empty journals. As you look through them and pick them up, looking like they might be evidence that you're looking for, they're all just like emptied. There's like school supplies in there, playing cards. You see a couple like sports balls.
Hiding children.
Oh, I was thinking he confiscated these things.
Oh.
So school supplies,
Wait, why would you confiscate clothing?
toys, and there is clothing in there.
Lost and found.
Lost and found.
As you pick it up, it is all kid-sized, not all the same size. All clean, though, and all seemingly new.
Things that he gives to kids? Kids in need, maybe?
Planning?
Why hide it?
He didn't have any kids of his own, correct? Did he? any point in time have kids possibly died, something like that?
He would have had to have a lot of kids to have all these different.
Considering the context, this was something the investigators briefed you on. He never had kids of his own, but he was never a romantic type or anything like that, so he wasn't planning on having them himself. He was a fan of kids, just not a fan of having them.
Ain't that the truth? Clothing, toys, school supplies. You wouldn't confiscate clothing.
No.
You could give it out, but then why hide it?
Maybe it's just a storage space.
And they're all clean. They all seem new.
Mm-hmm. As you're looking through this, you see that it looks like underneath another floorboard a bit further away, there's a box. Just sort of like you can see the bottom of it from the other side of like this lattice work where all these things are being kept.
Okay. Tear up that floorboard.
This one doesn't give quite so easily. You're able to stop without just destroying something because you guys have some degree of dexterity, but you become quickly aware that you're probably going to be yanking this up and actually snapping it to get in. That being said, that little amount of prying that you do shows you that, yeah, there's a little chest in there.
Yeah, let's tear the floorboard out.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, guy paid his damage deposit, right?
Crack. It gets loose enough and with that crack that you guys can actually go there and get the box out. There's a heavy clunk. You open it up and there's gold, which you haven't seen since you crossed the border, outside of your own pockets and money changers.
He planning on leaving or something?
Taking kids with him.
Taking kids with him. Why would he take kids with him if he wasn't that interested in them?
Why would
He thinks they're in a bad spot.
Hmm.
That doesn't make any sense because he would surely talk to their parents.
What if he thinks that the parents are the problem?
What if they did talk to the parents?
What if this isn't a collection? What if it's a stash?
That's what I'm saying.
A stash for what?
I mean, if you are selling something illegally, there's no way you could use the official ledgers and credit system.
No, not at all.
He could be selling.
Children.
Well, that's not what I was thinking, but
Well, if what the other family was saying is correct, then there's no history of children going missing.
Yeah.
no children missing.
He could have been planning on going to the Empire at some point. Or someplace where this gold's actually useful.
Secret gold.
It's starting to get a bit late.
We found. No, because he would have taken the gold with him if he had faked his death somehow.
Sure seemed real to me.
Well,
Could have been planning on faking his death. But that doesn't explain the clothing.
it doesn't explain the clothing.
I think he was planning on leaving and taking people with him.
That would explain why he was out in the dark with
No,
the light, bringing those 3 kids back on Tuesday. The date was Tuesday when the accident happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
No, because...
and the date today, was he planning? So he was planning on taking the rest on Thursday. Was he also the one who hijacked the wagon then?
I don't think so, because we saw him walking.
Yeah.
Well, think about it like this. You thought a group of people did it.
At this point, you notice that you were given a lot of room, it seems. A lot of leeway to search this place. Junker's nowhere to be found.
Distraction from something else? Is there a town meeting going on?
It's not tomorrow already, is it?
No, and you don't see any signs of that. You're not that far from town, so you can see that outside the council building there isn't like a crowd or anything like that.
There might be a distraction going on here. Think about it like this. He was playing. We found multiple people trying to leave with that cart, trying to take that cart.
Yeah.
What if that cart was actually the teacher's getaway plan?
A cart full of blood was his getaway plan.
Well, it
wasn't
wasn't full of blood before. I'm saying the cart, steal from the mine, get the kids
Uh-huh.
with the families, and get out.
Okay. Why wouldn't the family share that with us, though?
Because this town is crazy.
You guys stop yourselves short as you see Junker coming back from a little bit down the road. Seem to have just ducked behind another house for, you don't know what, presumably taking a piss or something. He just waves at you guys, seeing you're outside. Anything else I can help you with? It's getting late. I should probably lock up.
Can I roll understand to see if he's trying to play it cool
Yeah, go for it.
after doing something suspicious? Oh, well, it's an 8.
8. Your hackles are up. That's all you got, though. Just a hunch.
I'm gonna turn to you and just kind of go, we should hide the rest of the stuff that we found.
Or take it with us.
That would cause us to walk through town with it.
Well, it is evidence.
We broke the floorboard.
We did break the floorboard.
I'll turn to Junker and say, just 1 second. We just got to make sure we didn't leave anything behind.
Yeah, absolutely. You want me to stay outside?
I thought I'm gonna I think I got some things I gotta discuss with you. So about my armor, right? You run a junk shop, and then I'm just gonna turn away.
Okay,
So as you're sort of like pulling him aside, you notice that on the other side of that building, there's someone's head that just darts back, thinking they were just fast enough to avoid you seeing them.
Now I'm in a tough spot. Do I distract Junker or do I go with him? Well, there's no way in hell I'm catching up to that person. So I'm going to make note of where that was and any facial features I could remember. And I'm going to continue.
I think we should
Junker.
just write some notes, take the gold with us, and leave. And if anybody asks us, we say we were searching the house. And we found this stuff. Take notes of the sizes of the kids' clothing.
Done and done.
Sizes of the kids' clothing. Are they random sizes or?
More or less. It's one of those things where random is sort of the right word. They're not all the same size, but if anything, as someone who grew up in like a very age stratified household, this is clothing for basically just kids of a random age. It's deliberately a wide selection.
Okay. Wide selection of clothing.
And it's brand new, folded, clean.
Yep.
Toys.
Toy school supplies, unused.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's leave.
One thing you notice is these are like toys that are made of wood, but they're not the same wood as the buildings and stuff like that.
Grab one. I take one. A small one. One of the wood ones that I could hide in my coat.
Yep, you're able to palm a little wooden horse.
I'm just putting the lockbox in my backpack.
All right.
Okay. And we head out.
When you head out, I'm just kind of going, so how does that sound to you? Do you think you'll be able to put the symbol of the red star on the patches there?
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Engravings, embossings, I can do it.
All right, I'll be sure to swing by.
Just make sure it goes through the creditor, eh?
Oh, yes, of course.
I'm not trying to push or anything. It's just that really, I need to make sure it's paid first, you know?
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's get going.
You guys did, peel a floorboard open.
Yes.
Are you just leaving it peeled open?
Yeah.
All right.
Tip my hat to Junker. You have yourself a nice day. I left them to fix it. I don't know what's going on.
So, what all did you take from there? The gold,
Took the
Toy.
gold,
the toy.
And it's
the toy, and like a singular toy.
and the memories.
That's it.
All right.
As soon as Junker's out of earshot, I'm going to motion towards where the person came from and just tell Henny like, saw a person coming from over there. They thought that I couldn't see him, but I was like a hawk. I missed none.
All right. Why don't you check it out? And I motion for you to go direct way while I run around the opposite way so that they think big slow turtle man's coming to get me. Meanwhile, sneaky fast Henny is going around the opposite way if they run.
All right, big slow turtle man going around the side.
Why don't you go check it out?
Yeah, all right, and I make a big show of going around the back.
Or do we have to roll to be sneaky as I sneak to the other side?
This is all like mountains, rock, and low brush. So really, it's about speed and line of sight more than anything else. This is
Okay.
going to be grace.
Ooh, thank goodness. Oh. Damn it. It's a 9, 10.
10. You're quick and you think you're unseen.
Whew.
You hear rumbling, and as you walk by the house, because this is the other way was where they were looking from where you were going, so you're doubling back. You walk past the teacher's place where Junker was putting some things together, and it looks like, like the doors are shut and everything, but there's still a light on in there. You see Junker sort of like pacing back and forth, his face in his hands. On the other side, you don't see this, but you do. By the back door, there's someone nervous looking, sort of just waiting.
Are they rat folk, mouse folk?
Looks like mouse folk.
Okay. I don't recognize them, I'm assuming.
Nope.
And they don't see me?
Nope.
What if Junker was trying to get the money? He knew about the money and was trying to get it.
Trying to find it.
Actually, as you're sitting there observing, you both see this. Junker stops pacing and he sort of like sits there. You see him like tapping on the back of his head, like, okay. He sort of like collects himself. You see him lift the floorboard and take some stuff out. You're not sure what, but you see that back door opens and Junker's there. To the mousefolk just outside the door, he hands what looks like some clothes, one book, a quill, an inkwell, and a wooden soldier. You see the woman like give him a quick hug and then sort of like look side to side and then dart off into the night. From where you're standing, you can just see her out of the corner of your eye, and you can tell where she's going, but it was just for a brief moment. Junker goes back inside and starts putting things back together. Now it looks like he's locking up.
Well, way I see it, this is all right in my books.
All right, let's go. Let's go back to the place.
Actually, I think we should confront him about it.
You think we should confront him?
Yeah.
I think you're right.
By now, presumably, you guys are on the way home. It's getting late, and you need to make you need to hoof. So you guys have, after a decent amount of time, rejoined on the road, and by now you're easily on the way back to Rookery Hill.
Should we
Anchor Hill, rather.
confront him about it
Well,
tonight, or should we?
I haven't done with a lot of black market people, but the ones I have don't give each other hugs when the goods are delivered.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes depends how Of all things, you see that Absolution, Trunk, and Elmira are all sort of like, yeah.
Well, maybe I've been dealing with the wrong black markets.
I think you've just been a little bit too suspicious of everyone you've been dealing with.
Well,
At this
that's-
point, Steelfist, Trunk, Elmira, and Absolution all kind of.
Well, I mean, we have been dealing with some pretty dangerous customers. You can't fault me for being a little suspicious.
You guys hitch your horses and continue the conversation, walking into the ranger cabin.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anything else you guys want to discuss before winding down for the night?
Why is this child supply store being run under the table? That's my question.
Council doesn't give it enough money. Or
Is it
maybe-
being run under the table, or did Junker know of the money and the clothes from the teacher and was getting it?
It could be that he knew about it and approved of it and was in on it and was helping out in that entire situation.
Right, because he had the keys. Why would Junker have the keys to this random teacher's house?
Yeah. Also, why would he be giving it out to a parent who's clearly very appreciative?
So my question is, why are they running this under the table?
It has to have something to do with the council and people being unhappy and children not getting the fair shake in this town.
It's got to be. It might be a markup of some sort.
It might not be like a full markup. This might just be these children need the resources, so we're going to give it to them.
Well, I mean, as far as I can tell, that creditor guy lets you have just about everything as long as you give it back, so I don't know why they'd be buying anything.
They don't have anything to give back.
That is very true.
How much of the things that you've taken from the creditor have you given back, Steelfist?
Most.
You know, I'm proud of you.
I mean, it's nice. You get bored and you don't have to fence them. You can just, like... I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah, no, it is. It is an interesting economic system. So why circumvent it? Why use gold?
Absolution sort of sits there and goes, well, that's actually true. It all does have to go through that creditor, doesn't it? Wonder what that creditor's got to do with this.
Is there only one creditor in the town?
Yes.
Is that creditor also on the council that decided that they should be near the mines?
Elmira nods. I think so.
Well, there's the link.
I don't know if he was for it, but part of the council, I think. Creditor sounds like something pretty big. Council-worthy.
Just doesn't make any sense. Even if you were on favor of having the school moved, it's just a logistics thing. It's political for sure, but it's not a... Like, I don't understand why you would need school supplies. That has nothing to do with where the school is.
But the parents specifically said that the kids were not getting the proper resources.
Yeah.
So why not go around the system and give them the proper resources?
Absolution is still talking to you guys, but you see that Elbjorn, Trunk, Elmira, and Steelfist have all started getting ready for bed.
You're right, because the teacher was giving them special classes after school. Perhaps he wasn't doing it entirely out of the kindness of his heart. Maybe he was getting paid for it. Under the table. But why would it be under the table? That's the part I can't wrap my head around.
Because they don't want the council to know, because something's up in this town. Something's not right.
Well, I'll add a big thing labeled something in my my red string diagram.
Something? Question mark?
In the vaguest of terms.
Vegas of turns.
At this point, Elbjorn, Trunk, and Elmira have already come back after stripping off their armor and all their gear, and they just sort of like sit by the fire, listening idly to you guys strategize. Steelfist is scurried up, and you think he's in the attic. You don't know.
Not like I can follow him up there. could I actually fit in that like space in the attic? Like, I mean, in the hole up to it.
It's not a good experience. Like, you could fit through, but it's the physical
I'm just
equivalent
gonna
of
leave
trying
the
to get a
man.
couch up there.
I'm just gonna leave the man to his business.
That's usually what we do.
Doing steel fist things.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, good night then.
All right, yeah, let's go to bed.
Just before I go to bed, I'm gonna spend a couple hours poring over my notes, trying to make sense of all this as a way of training sleuth.
All right.
I'm going straight to sleep. Passing right out.
All right.
Well, morning comes. You guys are accustomed to dawn, so you're up at the crack of it. No notes on the front of the door as you get to your morning routines.
Do we heal from sleep?
You do.
Good, because I need it.
All right. You've got, 15.
Ooh, I'm feeling good.
I'm good.
Annie?
Yeah, I need something.
You've got 7.
Perfect. That gets me to 1 hundo.
It kind of makes sense. I just went and I passed out and I slept great. You just laid awake being like, what does it all mean?
What does it mean?
I don't need sleep. I need answers.
Man, I'm so glad that we're out here and he's in there and we're in there and he's out here. But what I want to know is where's the caveman?
Okay.
All right. Well, wake up, have some oatmeal.
Yeah.
After you guys have gone about your morning business, you're ready to get off and ride. Now it's the early morning, and given the long way all the way down to the village, it'll probably be like mid-morning by the time you guys get down there.
What should we do today?
Well, we have the council meeting.
Oh, that's today?
Yeah, I think that was today, right?
Yeah,
it's
today.
At afternoon.
All right. So we got a little bit of time.
But you guys were to slip in just before noon.
Yes, just before noon.
Well, we can confront Junker if we want.
That's what I would like to do. I mean, we might be able to get some more information before the meeting, but
Okay, let's go. Right now. Junker's place. Well, I guess if Junker
his shop. He has a shop in town if he's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
He's at the shop.
It's right by it's like, it'll be near the council office, so, like, right? It was not, like, near, like, right
Oh,
next to, but, like,
thought-
in the town.
I thought his
kinda
tool
thing.
was... I can't remember if I put it in the
Oh.
mine or not. I think
I-
it's in the mine.
Yeah, but he has, like, a general shop. Doesn't he? He has
has a
like,
general shop
the
in
general
town.
shop where we met him first time, and then he has his workshop.
Oh, yeah, the general shop I thought I put in the mine, and then the workshop is, like, way out in the boonies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, workshop's way out in the boonies, but
Okay, I just didn't know if, like, he had another one in town that I had mentioned earlier, and if I had, I was going to go with what I
No,
said.
I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
All right.
Is the mines really far from the...
Well, the mines would get you there probably just afternoon. It would be
Yeah.
tight. You wouldn't have a lot of time to talk, let alone stop.
Okay.
Well, I want to go back to the teacher's house. Maybe Junker's still there.
Well,
Okay. Teacher's
That'd
house.
be in town. You'd have
Yeah.
time.
Let's go look there.
Okay. And then we'll go to Junker's place after.
If we also know what was there beforehand, we can also see how much he took out and gave to that individual person.
Right, if it's unlocked, because he locked it up.
That's
Yeah.
true. Well,
Back to the teacher's place.
there are also other means of getting into a house.
If he was convenient, I suppose.
You guys go along the long ride, and it's mid-morning when you pass the council offices for the first time. You go towards where the teacher's house is, and sure enough, things are still locked up. Doesn't look like anybody's been here since yesterday.
I don't think we should break into it.
No, we're not going to learn anything else for breaking in.
Well, then, to the council?
Yeah.
To the council.
All right.
All right.
You guys make your way back, and sure enough, after a little while, Rollins is there waiting for you guys. He draws you to, for like a fake show conversation near the side of the building, and informs you that you guys are going to be making your move when the bell rings, and everybody takes a look.
Okay.
After sort of bluffing for a little bit, there's the ringing, and sure enough, a lot of the villagers start turning and moving towards the town square to pick things up from the exchange while they have the time. Meanwhile, you guys slip into the council offices. Here, there's a number of tables that are arranged with chairs looking out onto the area. Above, there's a mezzanine, and it's a big, open, like, reasonably large chamber inside. You guys go up the stairs, and from where you are, there's some actually nice, like, chairs and tables for watching, if anything, where you're able to sit. If you're right near the edge, you can see well, but you might be spotted. But if you move back a bit, you can't see so great, but no one would know you're there.
We'll stay back a bit.
Yeah.
I rig up a complex system of mirrors to create an object.
Captain Rollins takes his leave. You got that board?
Oh, yep. Let me go get it.
The board.
The board.
The board.
The board!
The board.
The Borg.
I had to hide it so my mom didn't step on it when she was visiting.
Whee!
Does your mom like to step on boards?
Kinda.
Now that is the worst. Like, I can understand no. What the
I was
fuck
more
is?
concerned. I was more concerned that my mom would step on the pins.
Yeah.
Because that's something that my mom's prone to do.
Oh, I just need to, like, check the POI list.
Okay.
Boom, 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 ba-dum, 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 ba-dum.
Careful with the pins.
Yeah, we don't want those on the floor again.
Again, that would be
No.
terrible.
There weren't any random foot stabbings, were there?
No, there were no random foot stabbings.
Excellent. I just need to remember the names that I wrote down. Right. You guys burn a decent amount of time and through the windows watch people mill about. Eventually you see people approaching and get into positions. Council starts to convene. People move in and they're just talking for a little bit, milling about. You notice people and you're trying to think of the people you've recognized, the people you haven't. Who have you guys met in town so far?
Who's still alive?
Well, there's obviously Junker.
There's Junker.
There's the captain.
There's the captain.
Uh,
The creditor.
Captain's here. Junker isn't.
White family.
Yeah, you definitely would have met the creditor.
And I met the creditor, and I met
Predator's here.
the
Family isn't.
head of the art people.
The Artisans Union.
Artisans
Yep.
Union.
That guy's here as well.
Corvo.
You see Corvo coming in behind everyone else. You see actually that the scribe comes in as well.
Oh, big day for old Scry.
There's some other people that you don't quite recognize, but you've seen them place to place. Somewhere you saw there was like some people in town that you recognize, some people from the mine you recognize, and there's some people that you've never seen before, but based on their outfits, one of them being stain covered and the other one being very much like wizardly robes, you presume that they're from the Wizard's Tower. After some time, things slowly come to a close. Someone at the front begins to get things going. All right, if we're all willing to convene for council, let's take attendance of who is here. Administrator Sky, that's me, I'm here. It's very boring things. You hear names, attendances, notes about people who are absent. You also hear about the names of people who have yet to be replaced by someone else on the council. Looks like the teacher had a seat.
Teacher to seat on the council.
Mm-hmm.
Other people who are here, there's someone called Moderator Ed, Representative Miles. There's two priests that go by Gaines and Veronica. You hear somebody called Speaker Riggs, somebody called Speaker Ronson. You hear the names of the people you already identified, and I can give these to you later. They're written down if you need them. Likewise, you hear that they're Brewer Roy, Arcanist Wise, are the people from the Mage's Tower, and from the mine, there's a director named Sarah and an engineer named Orr.
That's a good name for a miner. Or
Was an engineer.
yeah, but I mean, and that's fun because if he was a computer engineer, it's like an OR gate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a fun little thing that doesn't exist in this world. But man,
Dwarf tech.
yeah, did dwarf techs use digital logic at all? Were they binary systems?
Oh, 100%.
Man, there we go.
There you go. Engineer or.
Engineer or.
So you guys hear that they're starting to get to boring council business. They're talking about local affairs, budgets, keeping up with stocks. And before too long, the various speakers are talking about the things that they need for their artisans, the amount of coal they've produced, the amount of silver they've produced, that kind of thing. Things are dragging on, and you guys have an opportunity to peep onto the local area. Are you guys looking for anything in particular?
Anyone with a big mustache that they're twirling.
You see a few people fiddling with their
That's
whiskers, but that's about it.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm curious to see who's taken the teacher's place.
It looks like they haven't decided. They're thinking of having to talk to somebody outside of this town. After that motion in particular comes and goes, things start to go quiet until Captain Roland starts to speak up. There's a silence that wouldn't be conspicuous unless you, meaning literally you, were looking for it, which you are. He clears his throat for a moment. He makes a loud, like, get up from his chair. A bit of a distraction for you guys to get a bit closer. He starts to talk and go about his motions. There's a lot of decorum, the sort of stuff you don't want to hear. Very well, I am now taking my seat as the no, blah, 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 blah. And then he starts going on. He explains pretty much what he told you guys, with a few things missing, like the fact that you're here. He explains that because of the fact that it is very likely that a council member might be involved, this should be an independent investigation. Once he mentions that the investigators, or that a council member might be involved, especially considering the decision, the entire room tenses up. Every single person here seems to start getting nervous and looking place to place. He talks about himself basically resigning from the guard in order to go on as an independent investigator before moving on. He explains not really what he said to you, more so saying that this has shown that he is more of a military leader and he wants to talk to people he knew from the capital to arrange for a more appropriate guard captain in the future. As this happens, there are particular people that you were able to identify once they were named that seem to be, well, who's rolling understand?
I'll roll understand. We could both roll understand.
On different sides of the room?
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll higher than you, I bet. I get 10.
11.
Oh!
Got him.
Got him.
So when hearing about the captain resigning, the people who seem genuinely shocked, are anybody related to the mines or the unions, the priests, and all of the local administrators and functionaries? If anything, seem to almost snicker a little bit, like they've been waiting for that news.
Okay.
It seems that they've unanimously voted for that motion to take place, with effectively his termination taking place when this meeting ends. That being said, decorum breaks. You guys have almost been drifting off, listening to, and now I hand the floor to Speaker Gill. Thank you, Speaker Ronson.
Reginald is actually doing the...
Henny is actually enthralled. She has missed this sort of actual structured political things. Like, man, there's actual rules here.
In your backstory, you've dealt with politics, right? You see some things. In particular, you know the face of someone who is doing everything to hide their contempt. The administrator and moderator hate the guard captain with all they've got.
Man.
When everybody else was snickering, you could see that the representative Miles was pretending, but obviously is not happy with what's going on. Everyone else was genuinely shocked. And you're the first to notice that things are starting to lose decorum, because as things are being passed from speaker to speaker, you hear something that you shouldn't ever really be hearing in a court being held in proper blah, blah, blah. You hear, wait. What the fuck?
I have been commentating this like a football game to my surrounding people to try and keep them interested. Like, ooh, oh, you should not have said that.
At this point, sure enough, the room below goes quiet. You recognize it as being Administrator Sky going, in that case, who were you accusing? Is someone a suspect here? Suddenly there starts to be a hubbub. There are looks darting from side to side in the room. The administrator's talking, at which point, the moderator gets up and is sort of like, okay, guys, let's... And is quickly overpowered from the other side of the room with one of the mind speakers going, hey, are you pointing at me? We had nothing to do with this. You think we're some kind of murderers? There's the croaking of chairs being pushed around. At this point, you see someone bodily, hurl a finger across the room, the creditor pointing at the priests and goes, it was their wagon that they were using. He then, points his thumb out the door and is like, that junker piece of trash probably had something to do with it. The insults start to get bigger and bigger, at which point you notice, actually, for a brief moment, the guard captain looks up at you guys and looks a bit worried. You know what he's looking at you with. You've seen this before. This is not the plan. This is not the plan.
Penny's a little distracted, and I turn to Vest and I say, I haven't seen an official council meeting get this crazy since your brother was fired as a tax collector.
As you say collector, you hear a clatter as a chair breaks, and there's splinters that are thrown across the room. There starts to be shouting.
So, okay, correct me on etiquette here. We are not supposed to reveal ourselves, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because I really want to get in the middle of this and just break this up.
No, sit down. This is when it's getting good. They're usually way more boring than this, if you believe it or not.
Actually, that doesn't seem to be the worst plan, because as you're looking at the room and to the stairs for a good way to exit, there's multiple stairs. It's a big building on either side of the room. And as you look, you see that people are starting to form actual sides. As alarming as this is critical information. They actually formed walls. Speaker Rollins is not in one of the walls. You see him actually going to the door, slamming on it, trying to get guards to come in and break things up. They're starting to pour in and start to subdue things as you see who has gone to each side. On the one, the administrator, moderator, you see both priests. You see the miners' union speaker. Let me know if I need to slow down, by the way.
Okay, I'm caught up.
And both of the mine people. How many people is that?
Admin, mod, 2 priests, and 3 miners.
Admin, mod, 2 priests, 3 miners for 8 total.
Yeah.
On the other side, you see that there's... Actually, the creditor has slipped to the outskirts to try and escape the fight altogether, so you can't tell where the creditor stands. But on the other side, you see Corvo and Tim. You see both the Ranchers Union and Artisan Union speakers. You see Representative Miles, who was looking worried before. But no one else, that's it. They're slightly outnumbered.
And you also see veins appearing on Reginald's neck as he is really straining to hold himself back from getting in on this brawl.
No, Reginald, don't you dare break this up. I have been dying for some political intrigue ever since I escaped.
As you're watching and the guards start to break things up, you, the most enraptured by the scene, spot something in the back where all of the mine people are. You see that the administrator, both of the priests, and the union representative sort of whisper something quietly to each other and sort of gesture to the creditor, who doesn't seem to notice. Before too long, though, they're escorted out, and as you look out the windows, you see that this hubbub has attracted most of the town. Well, unless you want to reveal yourselves now, you guys are kind of pinned here as they clear out. Sure enough, as they spill out onto the street, you see that the hubbub starts to spread, and you can almost watch the confusion ripple outwards into the crowd. Looks like almost half the town is here. And, I mean, you guys were overwhelmed by the noise, but this is only stone up to this floor where you guys, and the rest is wood. It's not going to hold that much quiet. As the guards are sort of stop paying attention and turn to try to keep things dispersed, you notice that some of the counselors start fighting again, and as the guards are half distracted, there's some people who start joining into the fray. You see that fighting some, like physically rushing some of the counselors are, what was his name again? Colin White's parents.
Which counselors are they rushing?
They're rushing the miners' union rep and both of the engineers. The engineers dive out of the way, but the miners' rep is like tackled to the ground before they're peeled off by guards.
Well, now it's gone from political to physical. I should probably stop this.
I
Yeah,
don't think we should.
as soon as he said, we should probably, he doesn't even finish the sentence. Reginald is as quick as he can, which is pretty lumbering, just kind of boom, 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 and just pulling people apart and just being as menacing as possible because, I mean, these are all mouse folk, right?
Mhm.
So he's pretty hulking and just kind of, no, stop it, get away from each other.
As you guys rush in, paradoxically, things get way louder, but the violence seems to quell. The crowd now is whispering, wondering what you guys were doing in the council chamber with the rest of them that caused this fight to break out. The counselors are being separated by the guards, and Captain Rollins looks at you guys basically with like a, holy shit, right?
Well, I mean, like, I knew that it was going to go badly when he accused the council of these murders, but I wasn't expecting something like that.
Oh, man.
Well, anyways, this is kind of my last little minute as the guard, so I'm going to get us a bit of an exit by giving them one last order. That sound good?
Okay.
All right. He whispers something to some of the guards, and they quickly move and pierce the crowd as you guys make your way through. There's a few of the counselors and stuff that start brawling just a little bit, but it's like a quarter second before they're basically like, stay down.
Reginald grabs a chair out of someone's hand. Like, doesn't like throw it across the room, just carefully turns it so that it's right side up again and puts it on the ground and just keeps walking.
You guys get to the outskirts of the crowd where nobody's following you, but they are definitely watching. You guys go to where you stashed your horses and ride back up to the hill. Now, one more person with your group. You guys get back earlier than you expected, now in the late afternoon. You wouldn't want to go anywhere from here, per se, but you've still got some time to work.
Really not much of a politics sort of guy, are you, Captain?
Well, I'll put it this way. This place's longest history has been a place of military importance before anything else. We're not exactly, he gestures from where you are towards the village itself that you can see from here in Overlook. We're not exactly big. His gestures indicate this to be very much true.
Man.
From here, you can see that while the bulk of the crowd is dispersed, a lot of people are still roughly like around the council chambers talking, in little pockets wandering around.
Man, if that's the way that the council behaves under some sort of pressure, it would not be hard for someone to seize complete control of this town. Just by being on the council and playing their cards right. Like, that was nuts.
Well, what'd you guys see?
We saw pretty much what you saw. Yeah, there wasn't much that that you wouldn't have picked up on. What's the guy's name? Man, it wasn't exactly a subtle display now, was it?
No? I mean, I didn't think it would be pretty, but I mean, I thought it was going to be the sort of ugly that stays within decorum.
I'm suspicious of...
The admin and the priest and the mods who are whispering?
Yes. The admin and the priests and the mods.
I wonder what the priests have to do with it, because they really were just talking about what their congregation heard. The admin, I understand, this is bad for the admin. It's their effective organization. They need to be keeping it. Who was you saying the other person was? The priest, the admin?
Mod.
The mod. Or no, I think it was the miners union person. Miners,
No,
right?
it was.
Oh, admin, priest, miners is what I have written down.
Yeah.
I may have written that wrong.
Oh, okay.
No, that would be right.
Okay. The arrow wasn't very clear.
The miners' union's what's got me worried. You didn't catch what they were saying, did you?
No.
But they were talking about the creditor.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was trying to escape the hubbub, understandably, but...
You know, that might have been just as political as anything, not physically taking a side.
Yeah.
Reginald's also kind of like, perks up, like, I'm mostly concerned about those priests. Last time shit was hitting the fan, there was some priests involved.
Shit or chit?
A little bit of both.
Well, it's a completely different religion from a couple decades ago, if that's what you mean.
But to be fair, they were the ones being blamed on that side. They could just as easily be flinging it. Religion is religion.
I mean, it's different here in the mountains, you know. It's different for our people. But even then, not like with the most religious folk, they just have a decent amount of sway here because we're isolated and we need some sort of community. This doesn't make any sense. Well,
Do you know who is being replaced as the teacher representation on the board?
oh, we were going to have to go to the nearest city. We don't have anybody else who could teach in town. I mean, the only other person I can think of, well, was turned into a sculpture.
I might be able to teach.
I mean,
We're not permanent residents.
Did you see that courtroom? I don't think that's going to be too big of a deal.
well, either way, I mean, I was stuck in politics for the past couple of days. You guys find anything on the investigations?
Do you know anything about the teacher seemed to have some sort of under-the-table clothing drive?
What do you mean? What'd you find?
Well, a chest full of gold and a secret compartment full of clothing and school supplies.
Wait, what kind of gold was it? Did you see how it was stamped?
I pulled the gold out of my backpack.
Looks like it's Imperial coin. So there was a bunch of gold, and you said you found clothing.
Yes.
Okay. Did it look dirty, or were there any stains on it?
Completely new.
Completely. That was my first suspicion too. No, completely clean.
So then why would it be that that's...
Would there be any reason that parents would need supplies for their kids under the table?
The only reason I can think of is if there were people that, I don't know, weren't supposed to be here? But that's not something we could hide that easily under our noses.
No.
The real question is, who would they be going to?
Parents, from the looks of things.
Well, what did you see? Did you just find stuff in a stash somewhere?
Yeah, we found stuff in a stash.
We also saw
Oh yeah.
it was Junker. Junker
As
was
soon as you mention Junker, I'm just kind of like nudging you, being like...
Well, it's not officially part of the guard anymore.
We also don't really know what his affiliation is.
yeah.
And implicating a person who is alive is probably not the best idea.
Well, I'm not implicating
Well,
him.
it's-
Hold on.
But-
You guys talking about something?
I explained. So we saw Junker at the teacher's house,
At that, I just kind of throw my hands up and walk away.
and
They did know each other. I mean, the guy ran a tool shop the same place where the other guy was teaching.
yeah. So we think maybe Junker knows something about this.
Because he had a key, and he seemed pretty determined to tear apart the house. Seemed like he maybe was looking for something.
I mean, where did you guys find all those supplies?
under a floorboard.
Did you guys see if he went for the same spot?
Did we?
We had to rip the floorboard apart to get it. It was pretty obvious where it was.
Yeah.
So now he knows we're here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you find anything else, or was he just the person who happened to get in there?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't mention that he gave some clothes to the girl. I wait to see if you guys mention it.
I don't mention. I didn't want to mention Junker.
Anyway, I'd like to question Junker a little bit more to see if he knows anything about this.
Yeah, I suppose we can get that first thing in the morning.
All right.
Well, I guess we'll compare some notes. You guys got a room I can sleep in?
Yeah, I think we have lots of rooms, don't we? Yeah.
Steelfist isn't using his.
Salus isn't using his.
Oof. You look into Salus's room, he still has his tent set up on his bed.
Yeah. That's kind of taken right now.
Well,
Yeah, there's lots of rooms, though.
Right. Well, that one seems fine enough. I'll make my way down. He heads into Steelfist's room, the empty room that accesses Steelfist's room, which is literally just the attic.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys reluctantly head to sleep. After the captain puts his things down, you guys take some time to compare notes and get up to speed and get comfortable. But other than that, you don't find much else for the night.
Well, a few things I'm thinking. We no longer have somebody inside on the council. We could try and get a mole in there since there's a position open.
Isn't Corvo on the council?
I guess Corvo is on the council.
And same with the scribe.
So we do have people on the council.
Mm.
And with that lead, we're going to close that off for now.
All right.
Bam.
Yeet. Well, you guys, if you want to follow what's going down, we are here at twitch.tv/Mr. Croton, Wednesdays on the later half of 8 or 7 o'clock. You guys can find us at youtube.com/Mr. Croton if you want to watch the previous episodes we've posted, because this is part 3 of a multi-part series that we're watching right now. The rules for this game are at bloodwine.fandom.com. You got stuff to plug?
Not particularly. Just a shout out to Chazcan2 for the follow. Thank you very much for that. And as always, thank you everyone for your support. The next stream is going to be on Friday. I don't know what I'm playing, but it's going to be something.
Things are happening.
Things most definitely are happening. So thank you everyone for all your support, and I will see you guys next time.
Thanks for